Okay, stream should hopefully be live. So, yesterday we were working on adding world gen and like a biome system, so you can like specify sets rules for when a biome can spawn. What we're gonna work on today, I think, is adding. I need the video editing. Is adding like a button in here that we can say like regenerate the map so that when we tweak the values of the biome, because at the moment we can only change like what terrain each biome is. So we got like desert, beach. So we can say what tile it's going to spawn there, and then we'll go from there and we'll work out like what to spawn from there, I guess. Uh, we're working on making it so I can regenerate the map when I change values. We have to add other values like to edit the rules because otherwise it's kind of like why change it. But it should work pretty well. The first trick, I guess, is going to be working out how I'm going to regenerate the map. So, I guess one thing to do is maybe have a regenerate event in the editor. I don't think this can call a query. We have access to the world, so we should probably just add a regenerate button, and that will fire a regenerate event. So here we're going to have do you have an event? No. Okay. Drive event enum app event. Regenerate. We could probably do it with just a system as well. That would probably work just as well, because having an event that does nothing but trigger a system to run is like you might as well just run it with a single system. But I think doing it in a system so it runs in parallel just to be a little bit faster would be better. So in here, we're gonna have to have a system to regenerate the map. So I have a regenerate system, which is going to take in event for reader. Event reader for map event. We're going to need a map descriptor, which is a res map descriptor. Spelling, that's nice. So we're going to map descriptor. We're going to need a I guess technically we can just iterate through all query. This needs to be mutable. We're going to iterate through all the cells, which is anything with a chunk ID. So we need its chunk cell ID. Right, hex ID. And its terrain type. But we need that mutably. We also only want to update the terrain type if it actually changes, because I think a lot of logic runs related to terrains changing. So we don't want to change everything. So for event in event go. Probably a better way of doing this, but I'm just going to say I don't want it to accidentally trigger twice and then like regenerate a map while it's lagging. So we're going to say if event, because again we may have future events that are not regenerate, equals map event generate, then run. Okay, if not run, return. Okay, that's our logic to check to see if we should run this code. Next is to go for, we also need access to the map, don't we? No, it's a resource. Map, we need to mute. So mutable resource to the map, so we can tell it to regenerate all the chunks. So we go for cell in cells. We also need to be cell and then terrain. You're mutable. Okay, so we'll iterate through all of that stuff. What do we need to do is go descriptor dot get terrain for this cell. Terrain equal like so. Descriptor get terrain, so that gives us our terrain, and then we say if terrain does not equal, we need to, okay, so we're gonna give this a new name, new terrain, not equal old terrain, then terrain equals new terrain. That means it will only override it if it's actually different. So we can't pass in cell apparently because we have to dereference it. Can't compare those. I don't want to dereference that because I feel like dereferencing it's gonna. It's not equal. Terrain. No, okay, so I need to get this like as ref, I guess. I think I can call it as ref because if you call but just dereference it, I think that might trigger it as mutable. And then I dereference the reference like that. I think. Okay. Yeah, you're the same. I don't want to trigger the change detection if the change detection is incorrect. Oh. Event equal, par equal, clone and copy. Thank you. So we do that. Then we say, if we updated the terrain, we say map dot chunk. No, dot changed. No. I don't remember what I have to call on map to get it to init. Get cell, qmesh. Okay. So that's qmesh. I could just call update hex. We need access to the chunk size as well. With the resource chunk size. So let me say chunk size dot zero get. I think it's dot get. If it's not dot get, I'm gonna go implement dot get for it. Import chunk size get, which takes in self and returns I32 self.0. Okay. Can't find hex in scope, but it's because it's cell. So, only issue with calling update chunk like this is it also adds all the neighboring chunks. That should be fine. So then we go up here, we're going to add a system. Update connections happens in post. So I guess regenerate would probably happen here. Update chunk transforms, update hex transform. End mesh tasks. Start mesh tasks, which happens after connection. So we probably want to go regenerate happens here. Because then we regenerate, then we update the connections, then we start. And I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly, update connections. Happens on any time that the terrain changes. Okay, cool. We should probably add the button to the map editor first. So we go to editor, we're going to go here, we go, you're collapsible. So before we get to the maps, we want to go here, we want to go, maybe it should be right at the top, big button that says regenerate. So UI.button with the text I will just called generate, and then dot clicked, if button clicked, then we call world dot send event, send event map event super map event regenerate. Okay. So that should mean if I go in and I change a specific tile, and then hit regenerate, it'll redraw the map. And that's kind of what we want, because that means when I add the ability to edit more than just the terrain type, such as adding and changing rules, the we should end up with like a nice big thing. Now, something's complaining. Oh, I've never initialized the event map event. Okay. So yeah, that would help, wouldn't it? Right at the top here, we need to initialize resource, initialize init event, add event. Okay. Okay, okay. Alright, so clicking regenerate will hopefully make all of them disappear. Actually, probably shouldn't do anything, because I think they only regenerate. They'll only regenerate if they actually change. Like, well, they're technically regenerating. You just can't see that they're doing it. Like, these ones stop moving, which implies that it's doing something else. So I change water to being rock, for example, and click regenerate. Oh. Okay, it's frozen. Oh, there you go. So, might be something that we don't want to necessarily how to do it in so obviously I don't want to do it in a single frame then, because regenerating the entire map in a single frame is taking way too long. Well, that's probably something to work on, because that's probably why the game's taking so long to start up. So we should probably go into our map and have like a an index set of chunks to generate. So I think we can get rid of this because we no longer need this. Let me use it in other places. Okay, so what we're gonna need is, so here's to mesh, and then we're gonna basically copy this down, and this one's gonna be to generate, like so. And then so we'll do the same thing here. Take this down. To generate. All right, so when we call this function, we're going to cut this. We should probably just get, what is this? We'll cut it out. We'll reuse it later. So we're going to say chunks, and chunks don't need to be mutable. It's literally just going to be chunk ID. Like so, and then if you run, and then we call map dot to mesh dot clear, because we're regenerating, means don't keep trying to generate shit that's already done. Map dot so then for chunk in chunks map dot to generate dot insert chunk. Right, so that should clear that up. Apparently we don't need the map descriptor or the chunk size anymore, so that should be fairly easy to do. Okay. The next we need to add a function that generates chunks. So somewhere I queue the chunks to be meshed. Start meshing. So a lot of weird code here, but this is the kind of code that I'm going to copy, paste down here. So that's to regenerate. So that just queues everything to regenerate. Okay, so next this is going to be generate mesh. Okay, so did I generate mesh tasks to mesh? Okay. Plus self dot to generate. Okay, so I don't need this much complexity to it. So what we can do, so to generate is to empty return mesh data. So we don't need this because this is about loading specific. Okay, so let me to mesh tasks. Okay. So apparently we take to generate. Then we say get the player. We work out the player's location. Otherwise the player is at 0 if we can't find the player. Okay. To generate, sort by. So that will sort it so that the chunks we're going to generate first are the ones closest to the player. Apparently this does it as an asynchronous task pool, which I don't actually think I want to do. Maybe we'll grab the task pool just to tell it. Generate? No, I think that's just something. I reckon we'll do it like a time-based thing. So let start equal std time instant now. So what we'll do is every time we go to every iteration, we'll see if something. Why am I iterating it in reverse? Oh, that's why. I'm iterating it in reverse because this is an index set, which means that popping from the end is technically faster than popping from the beginning. So I sort it so that the closest chunks are at the back, and then I reverse the iterator so that I can grab the. I don't know if it's faster or not. All right, so we should probably despawn each chunk. Maybe, I don't know. Trying to think this through how I want to go about. So we grab each chunk from to generate, and for some reason we're getting the chunk entity. Right, otherwise we continue. That seems fine. We probably want to then go children. Okay, wait, no, it's if let okay children equals is it cells? Not cells. It's chunks. So we go chunks.get chunk entity. Alright, so it gets the children, and then we're going to do something in there. Else we're going to do something out here. So I think all this can go. We need started. So let equals apparently a vector. So right, that was probably with the width capacity. So hilarious. So then started and we remove and then we swap. And it's not two meshes to generate like that. Then swap it back in to generate, swap, remove. Yep, okay. Can I just pop off the, like, can I say like to generate dot pop? This. I could just pop them. Like, I don't need to do this weird, like, sort, reverse, iterator, store, and we'll fix that later. That's automated thing. So we get the chunk, and then we do some chunk stuff, and then we say, I think all this stuff is related to generating chunk meshes, so it's not going to matter. So, if it does have children, we are going to go for child in children. Iter. And we say get no, if let some if let okay hex terrain cells. So we don't need connections. Connections again was about mesh generation because I just copied that code. Get that mutably. Okay, so we're gonna go here. We say if let okay hex train equals else cells dot get child. Let's get mute. So get mute child. Else commands dot entity chunk entity dot spawn. Wait. With child. And then we go back to main here and go, hey, how do I spawn a chunk? Yeah, okay. Ooh, that's an interesting question, because if you don't have a child, how do I know what ID to give it? You know what? Good point. Just say let OK equals child, else one chunk child not a cell. So chunk, then we get chunk. Okay, then down here we do the same thing. We say if so let terrain equal map. I don't think we've got the map descriptor yet, so map descriptor, which is a res map descriptor. Alright, let me say map descriptor dot get terrain. We pass in hex, and we go if terrain does not equal. Alright, we got to change you to new terrain. If new terrain does not equal terrain, then terrain equals new terrain. I need to dereference you, and then I think as reference you. I don't know if this is entirely necessary, but I just don't want the change detection running. Let me continue. Into dereference child. Okay. So so we go, does the chunk currently have children? If the chunk has children, then we will iterate through and update the children rather than generating new ones. Else, we're going to go, I don't know. Else we spawn all the children, so I guess it's 4. We need the chunk size, don't we? We can read the chunk size from here, I think. 4 hex in chunk dot cell. Is that what I've called it? Yeah, it is cells. There you go. It is cells, and then we just say let no terrain descriptor. I think it's go here. We go let chunk commands equal commands dot entity chunk entity, like so. Then we say here, we say chunk commands dot with child, and that child is hex, and map descriptor dot get terrain hex. Don't know if that's the best way of doing it, but a way of doing it. So that should then spawn all the cells missing. Also, as soon as we get in here, we say started.push chunk, like so. You need to be durable, mutable. So then next is to go started drains out, and when we get to the very end, once we've generated a chunk, we say if start dot elapse dots as millis is greater than 10 break. Right. So basically, if we spend more than 10 milliseconds regenerating generating chunks, don't generate more chunks. So it'll generate as many chunks as it can in 10 milliseconds, and then it will continue, which should hopefully mean that one core will be saturated by the generate mesh instruction. So basically, everything else can be going on while one task is busy generating meshes, and that should leave about 3 milliseconds of before or after buffer time that this thing I think it's 60 milliseconds to keep 60 FPS. So you've got 6 milliseconds to hope that Bevy schedules this without it causing frame lag. And the idea being that if you're on a really slow computer that takes more than 10 milliseconds to generate a chunk, it'll still generate at least one chunk per frame. Now, if this is working correctly, we should be able to remove this part of this code and still have the maps generate. That's going to be the most obvious way of testing this. Is that basically we're going to say don't generate the children for a map. Just generate all the chunks, which means the game should start really quickly now because we're not spending ages generating chunks. Because before we had to spawn every single chunk. Okay. So you're complaining, I think, because we're not adding them to the... Okay. So we'll do some funky... Because I just realized we need to tell the map to generate them. So we could do that here. We could just whack it on. But I think the smarter thing to do is to go to chunks mod here and go when we define on add, which technically on add is actually on insert. And you don't need all this funky stuff. You just need to get the map, get your ID, get the map, say map dot chunk to entity dot insert ID entity. That's all you do, and then you're not on remove, you're on replace, and you do the same thing where we say get the ID, get the map dot chunk to entity dot remove ID. Right, I've already registered that. Okay, so you want a reference to it? Gotta do it this way because we can't borrow it mutably twice. Yeah. Just. Right. So this should keep the map correct. And then we go here and we say hooks dot on add worlds entity an underscore, and then we go here and we say okay, let ID equal world dot get turbofish chunk ID, get the chunk ID for the entity dot expect just added, right? Then we say let mute map equals world dot resource mute, which needs to be super map. Right, so now we get the map, and then we say map dot to generate dot insert ID. Alright, so when we add a chunk, we automatically add it to be generated, and then if we insert a chunk, which happens just after we add it, we do something to it. I don't know. Anyway. That's great, because that means it's actually working. It feels really laggy, but I don't think it actually is being laggy. There's probably also some checks to make sure, like when we go to generate a chunk, I don't know if I check to see if the chunk's available to be generated. Like there could be issues. Where do I generate chunks? It's in here. Wait, you're not called generate mesh, you're called generate chunk. Because that's what you do. It's start mesh task. Do I ever check when I go to start a mesh task to mesh? To sort by. I don't think I ever checked to make sure that a chunk is actually in a state that it can be meshed. When do I add to generate? To mesh gets queued. Yeah, so when do I queue meshes? I feel like I need to check that because it feels like it's gonna be possible for me to get a mesh to generate wrongly, so to speak. Like it's hard to explain. Like if I fly all the way out here, I feel like it's going to be possible for a mesh to generate trying to use neighbors that don't exist. But the easiest way to find that would be to check water edges and be like, is it doing something wrong? But it all looks correct. Now, for some reason, I'm at like 8 FPS, but I think that's because it's actually generating everything. Because I don't have that long pause, it technically shouldn't be dropping my FPS. But I guess because I'm generating chunks as well. I don't know why the async's not working properly. Anyway. Relaunch it. I forgot that I'm supposed to be, I still swear it's going to be possible for it to generate incorrect meshes. It doesn't look like it is, which is worrying me because I don't know where I'm checking to make sure. Well, I just told it to regenerate, but they're the same meshes, so that's good. Good job, me. Go this way, please. Okay, fine, we'll look this way then. So we're gonna go here, we're gonna say, hey, can you turn water to grass? Apparently that didn't do anything. Okay. It's not doing anything. Why is it not doing anything? Right. So we at least generate chunks correctly the first time round. Mesh gets cleared. I guess it doesn't matter because map.to generate, like it'll just add them again, so it doesn't. So the question becomes, where are we getting stuck? it's not printing any messages about so if new terrain does not equal old terrain, are we actually getting here? I mean, today's already been a major success just in the fact that I don't have to worry about the game taking forever just hanging on the screen while it generates the entire map. Yeah, so it's going to spam here because it is in fact getting there. Now, is it getting here? The answer is no, because I haven't changed the map. But when I change the tile, it should be getting here. So when I click generate, it should say nothing because none of the tiles have changed. But if I change water to grass, yeah. So it's definitely generating all of it. We've turned water to grass. Well, I guess the other question is what chunk is it doing? Well, I should still see something changing. So that means that it's... Right, it's probably that I need to say... I need to remesh it, don't I? So before we return, we need to say map.qchunk, qmesh, queue up the chunk. So we actually have to call regenerate. Or we have to tell it to remesh the chunk once we've updated the value. So now, if I open my map descriptor, say, turn all the water to grass, regenerate. Hey. All right. We should probably also make it able to change the seed. I don't know if this seed matters for the RNG. Okay, well, that's all the biome generation working. I still suspect there's something wrong with it, but it's not appearing, so there's no point hunting it down if it's not actually there. Anyway, go to the editor. We need to go. Give me a somewhere type horizontal objects. That's drawing noise. Up here. So we have generate, and then we also want to go something like if UI. I guess it's if we've got access to the descriptor dot seed dot UI, and then we want some options there. Can I just give it any, or is that going to cause a problem? Who knows? ID is going to be new. It's going to call it seed, and then we need to make the environment again. What are you? I think we want this here. So we go here, we go here, we go here. We do that. We do this. We go. Why do I not have type registry yet? Oh, yeah, if the seed changes, we then say descriptor.noise. So it's height noise dot set seed equal to descriptor dot seed. We just do that with all the maps. So rain noise and what's the other one called? Temperature noise. So if you change the seed, oh, god damn it. I hate that it does this. Why are you like this? Alright, we'll check to see if set noise actually does anything. Yes, it does. We need to rebuild the source. God damn it. It's so annoying. Descriptor dot height noise equals height noise dot clone dot set seed. Okay. Then we need to duplicate that 3 times. Rain noise, temperature noise. Okay, so with that, that should give us a nice ability to change what seed we're on, and therefore there's like a more of a reason to regenerate the map because we can try different seeds. We open up this here, and then we go put me on seed like 15. Generate. Hey, would you look at that? Oh, we haven't finished generating the whole map yet. 30. Yeah, I do feel like regenerating needs to like clear the whole thing. I think we do go through every chunk, don't we? It's gonna be pretty simple. We just go to when we regenerate the map. You go through here. Can we grab chunks? But we need to go to entity as well. They can give their resource. Edit entity. Chunk like so. And then can we go we need commands as well. We need commands in here. We go commands dot entity dot remove mesh. I want to say it's going to work, but I'm a bit worried that when do I insert or do I replace? I think I replace. Somewhere end mesh tasks. Yeah, I'm querying specifically for the chunk 3D, so I can't remove it because if I remove it. Alright, so instead we're going to replace this with mute mesh 3D. We'll just override it with the default one. So first off, you'll call mesh. Your mutable. We need a bit of reference in. Mute Q. Then we come out here and we say mesh dot rest 0 equals handle default. So that should mean that when we call regenerate, we clear all the old ones out, so that they're there. We don't have to worry about seeing the old chunks as it spreads back out. So open up the mesh descriptor, fly up somewhere where we can see the whole map. Then we go take us to 60. Okay, so we need to clear the tasks as well, because obviously they got finished generating after. Yeah. Okay. So regenerate also we need to make sure that we app dot tasks mesh tasks dot clear. Yeah, we need to clear the old tasks as well, so we don't finish them and render dum dum. Okay. Get this up here, map descriptor, fly up nice and high, go, I don't know, we'll go map 90, generate. Hey, problem solved. The question now is how many can it generate, because surely I can queue them all. Like, I'm fairly sure the limitation is how many chunks it can generate. So that'll be the interesting question. Maybe that's why I'm not getting those edge issues that I thought I'd be getting. Is that Hey, Iron Man. I'm doing alright. I've actually made a lot of progress. My game now boots immediately. Like, it used to hang for like 30 seconds while it generated the whole world. Now it generates the world like generates as many chunks as it can in 10 milliseconds, so that it keeps above 60 FPS if it can. And it means that the game boots up much quicker now. Now, maybe the reason I'm not getting these edge artifacts that I was expecting is because we can actually generate a hell of a lot more chunks in 10 milliseconds, and we're only starting a maximum of 2 chunks per thread. Could be interesting. We're just actually starting 5 times chunks per thread. So if I set this to like 100 times chunks per thread, I'm assuming this will cause the issue, because again, I'm never checking to make sure that the neighboring chunks are finished generating. See, now we're running into, hey, this chunk has no, which is one lagging the hell out of the game. Yeah, see, there we're getting fucking artifacting. So basically, in 10 milliseconds, we were generating more than enough chunks. So now we're, not only is the frame taking longer, so now we're getting the artifacting, which means we basically need to go, I think the map should keep track of loaded chunks, maybe. I think we also get rid of this now. So when we generate a chunk, we need to add it to like the loaded chunks list. So we can go like loaded, and then this would just be a hash set of chunk IDs. I guess it's more like Bevy at the moment's significantly better at 2D than it is at 3D, but that's because 2D is so much simpler. But Bevy is taking a different approach to Godot. Like, Bevy takes the same approach that Unity has, which is that everything is 3D. We just render 2 dimensions of the 3D, like the camera orthographic. So like technically it's still rendering just like flat planes in a 3D space. I think it does do optimizations compared to Unity that actually is just rendering flat planes. But Godot, from what I remember, has 2 like different engines, one for 3D, one for 2D, and everything changes. Like the transforms in Godot are different if you're in 2D or if you're in 3D. In Bevy, they're the same transform. We just use the Z-axis different. So like it's not so much that like Bevy's focused on one over the other. It's that Bevy is building a unified engine that does both, similar to Unity and Unreal, versus Godot, which is technically, I think, 2 engines. One optimized for 2D, one optimized for 3D. So we need to go loaded. It's a hash set. Default. Now I don't think I wanted that because it's going to compare types. No? Okay. Yeah, I've got 2 sets of hash set coming in. Okay, cool. So loaded, which means that when down here, when we generate a chunk, we need to say we have access, mutable access to the map. Cool. So we need to go down here. We need to say when you get to here, when you queue this, say map dot loaded dot insert chunk. So what this is going to translate to is it'll never technically finish loading all the chunks because it won't load the outermost ring because the outermost ring technically doesn't have the correct cells, if that makes sense. Like they'll be missing because it'll generate all the way up until the outermost ring where it'll never have the outermost ring. Same thing I did with my chunk generation. It's like technically these one further chunk than view distance loaded because otherwise you can't check the neighboring data. So then when we start here, so we get a chunk. See, this is why you would need to know the neighbors. Like you have to be an iterator that reverses, or like that works out what started, because it's possible for you to return early, and therefore we still want to leave the chunk. Okay, cool. So we should probably stop warning this because it's just bogging the whole thing down. But what are we doing? What do we do? Go. We need to say can underscore. That can underscore gen equals false. True. Can gen true, and then we try and work out if it can generate, and then if can gen if not can gen continue. So basically we're going to have a bunch of rules to try and disqualify this from generating. So the first one is, okay, we could also just do this as can gen map dot loaded dot contains chunk. So first off, you can only run if you've actually been loaded. Why are you saying unknown reference? Oh, you need a reference. Okay, so if it's loaded, you can gen. Otherwise, you can't. And then we say can gen, or guess for and in chunk dot. Have I got a neighbors function on you? No. Do you have a neighbors function? Direction. Chunk. Neighbors. Okay, that's what. So just copy that, go here, give you a neighbors function as well. Should be fairly easy to just copy paste it and replace this with chunk ID. Like that. Yeah. I need to 0. I believe it's 0. Not entirely sure. I made it that if you have a chunk size of 0, it's treated as being equal, but only one way equals. Like you can, if you add them together, it takes the, if the chunk size is, if one is 0 and the other is not 0, then they're equal. If the, and you return chunk size. Thank you. So a chunk size of 0, if I remember, if I did it correctly, when I say add, if self dot other side isn't correct, but if right hand side is equal to 0, if self size does not equal right hand size and right hand side does not equal 0. Okay, so I think it's actually the other way around. I think I need to flip them. So if you add a 0 size chunk, it's fine. It's just like a convenient way of not needing to know the chunk size, but having it work. The other option would have just been to like set the chunk size from the chunk size. Here, there you go. Okay, that. Post it here, plus that, and like that. Hey, okay. So then we need to go here. We need to say somewhere between 4n in chunk dot and neighbors. So then we say can gen 4 equals no and equals, because we want it to be false if any of these are false. Map dot loaded dot contains n. You're immutable apparently. Okay, so then we go basically cangen run. This should mean that it can't queue things until they've at least been generated, and all of its neighbors have generated. Look at it go. It's glorious. So I wonder what's making it take so long. Interesting. Set the seed to like that and go generate. Very interesting. I see issues. Yes, I see calculation issues here. So it's not quite working. I know why it's not quite working. Yes, please, when we call regenerate, map.loaded, clear. Thank you. That would be good. Thank you. It does help if you clear out the map, say they're loaded, because otherwise it runs. It worked fine the first time, but didn't work when we regenerated the map because they were all considered to be loaded. Go to 100. Hey. The reason it's slowing down is because as I'm moving backwards, it generated the chunks behind me. Cool. So, like, in theory, I could just queue all of the chunks. But the idea of not doing every chunk, like the reason you want to generate the chunks more slowly, because it should be asynchronous, which means that the chunk shouldn't care. Yeah, I want to generate them all because then it. I think I just disable that line. We'll end up. Where is it? Here. If I remove the limit to how many chunks it can generate, which already was at like 2,000 chunks per frame, but they'll generate much quicker, but they won't have as nice of like the chunks closer to the player generate quicker. Apparently that's maximum clip. That's as fast as Bevy can generate them. As fast as my computer can generate them. But see how like they're getting a bit like you're starting to generate chunks that aren't the closest. Okay, that's nice. Another thing to consider is that I hope they set to a size and then I'm ignoring it. So I want to say I have no idea how many chunks a thread can generate. Maybe 5. delta 5. So this has to do this particular approach because there's a chance that a chunk won't be generated and we can't pop and then reinsert it. That would be silly. We don't want to, we don't want to queue chunks that are not going to generate. But theoretically down here, we could not bother with the silliness that is inserting it to a queue because we can just pop. So we go to generate, then we sort, and then we can go like for I into generate 0.to generate.len, and then we just say let chunk equal to generate.pop, like so. Let sum pop else break. That works because we can just change this to a loop now. We don't even need to do anything like that. So we just loop start.push chunk. So we don't need to do that. Well, technically started can go away. We don't need started. I do kind of want to print out how many we're doing per frame. So let done equals 0, and then we say done plus equals 1. Then we need to give you a reference. So don't need to dereference these anymore. And then I just want to print line done. Print generated chunks. Let's just take done. Oh, I'm just curious how many chunks it can generate in a frame. We need to make done mutable. So we're generating like 50 chunks a frame. It's interesting. So this is not necessarily Bevy speed, that might be the chunk generation speed. Because I'm pretty sure I've got 20 cores. Check it with task manager. How do I turn this into? So we've got 2, 4, 6, 8. So there's 24 cores. No, 32. Oh, yeah, it's 32. 32 cores. So it currently I'm telling it to generate up to 32 times 5, 160, and we're only generating 50. So the limitation is probably that we can't physically generate cores faster. Now, how would I make that faster though? Probably the bottleneck is somewhere in where we have our map descriptor, which probably should go to its own thing now. It's getting a bit crowded in here. Map descriptor. Actually, can I do that instead? Wait, no, just don't want to do that. No, redo. Stop. Like that. Yes, please make me a map. What the fuck? Alright. So we need to find all the map descriptor code. Map descriptor, map sample, map descriptor, all of that. all this goes in here, please. Then we need to use the Bevy prelude and use the crate prelude, and then anything that's not we need to, okay, these that we brought in, these are noise. We need to use super biomes. Right, which biome? Alright, so this should be in the prelude. So lib prelude. Crate. Train. Okay. Mismatch type. What? Biome can be. Need super map sample. So you're complaining because biome can be. Okay, it's because biome is probably using the wrong one. It should be map descriptor map sample. Yes. Can we find you? You're the rules apparently. Here, test. Alright. And then you're going to be complaining because... yeah, I don't know. Okay, so your map descriptor. The editor's going to be complaining because map descriptor is map descriptor. Super map descriptor, map descriptor. Right, you stop being able to touch those because they're all private. I'll just make them all public because I don't really care. Should make you stop complaining. Down here. No, don't qualify. Import. Now you should have a problem because map descriptor should show up twice. No? Okay. I'm going to qualify you. Can't find map descriptor in scope, yes. But why can't you find map descriptor in scope? Fine. We'll put it in the prelude. Great. Terrain map. We need to make it public. Here. Map descriptor. Okay. We just import the prelude though. Okay. So next, go here and go, hey, when I sample this, like, there's a few casts, but it really is just noise is slow. So we're currently using open simplex. Is super simplex faster though? Well, that would need benchmarking, which is not something I'm good at. We'll just find out. It was generating like 50, yeah, 50. Don't screen builder. Okay, good. Okay, so it was able to generate about 50. Right, something I'm doing wrong is okay. This is the UI is not going to work because the UI specifically requests. What is your restriction? Nothing. It's literally just T. Yeah, server's going to need something, but I pass this in. What are your complaints? Where T is clone. Now what are you complaining about? But it's trait bounds, not satisfied. What are its trait bounds? Multifunction. Noise multifunction. Noise multifunction. What do you mean super simplex doesn't? Oh, where FTM T. Okay, so maybe we just need to say this is T. Where T is clone and multifunction. But without knowing what can we get in here and say where FBMT inherits multifunction? Is this something that I can do? Like, is this actually just like an actual restriction I can place on top? Get. Plus noise. F64 2. Hey, okay. So now we'll see if it generates more than 50 in that the noise function is faster. Because I want to say super simplex is faster than open simplex. No, it's still generating about the same number of chunks per frame. Now that's not saying that the limitation isn't somewhere else. But it interestingly means that the... I'm curious, like, let's regenerate. Does super simplex look nicer? I think it does. The open simplex had like really annoying issues of like certain like sharp edges happening, which I'm assuming is like when it's transitioning from negative to positive values or something. Height texture. Yeah, that looks pretty nice. We could call generate on that. Let's see what that looks like. Oh, that looks cool. So rain is kind of fuzzy. Temperature. Temperature is big swaths of the same. That's why we end up with these big chunks of cold. So what it is we kind of need to make cold not as more cold or not cold. I don't know. Anyway, continue working on the actual goal, which would add the ability to edit the terrain. So my question is somewhere this is the drawing function, we don't care it. But somewhere we draw all the biomes. Where is that? Here, biomes. We iterate through and we draw for each biome, we draw the biome's name. So next is to go biome.ui. So I think it's here we want to go. We go, hey, you just say terrain. And then next is to get another horizontal. Okay, so we're just going to copy that, paste it, and go, hey, what's next on the biome list? So technically its name is at the top. We should be able to edit the name though. Interesting. How would I edit the name? I'd have to make the name some kind of like thing. Rules. So we're trying to type priority. Okay. The next is the priority. And that's just going to be UI from value terrain. I don't think that's actually what I want to do. I want to say something more like UI dot or terrain self dot priority dot UI. So your UI is you're passing UI. You're passing the options, so it's going to be let new options equal number options between I8 min and I8 min and I8 max. We could also just set it between 0 and 100, or like 100 and negative 100 and 100. So then we say options.display equals number option. No, what was it? The display. Number display. Number display, and then we want slider. The sliders look cool. And then we pass in, I think it's a reference to options. So then we go ID. So your ID is ID new, and then your ID is going to be priority, and then your environment is annoying. Can I just clone this? I don't think I can. Which is annoying because I'm pretty sure when I go to use it again, it's not going to work. So then we say changed or equals. Not equals or equals or equals. Dot changed. UI. I use return a boolean, which means it's probably is the change detection. All right, so now we can edit the priority of different ones, and then next is to go UI.collapsible. I guess it's more like I'm gonna say self.rules.ui. Is this a thing that I can do? This for the struct, but yeah, okay, so I think it's what it's saying is biome rule doesn't implement UI. No. The method exists for struct biome rules, but its trait bounds were not satisfied. The following trait bounds were not satisfied. It doesn't implement num, which is required. Okay. It's not implement sized. Num Oops. Okay. So it's saying that biome rule doesn't satisfy inspect the primitive. Can I derive inspect primitive? Nope, apparently not. Can I say, how do I do it? UI by value? So changed or equals UI from value. The value is self dot biomes dot rules dot as reflect mute, pass in UI, pass in and dot type registry. So yeah, you're going to complain that it's moved. So technically we have to put priority at the bottom because I don't want to do cloning. Okay. If I run that, they should give me access to the fire tools, I hope. So now when I open up the map descriptor, go to biomes, open up water. Hey, okay. So F32 is reflect value, but has default inspector configuration plugin. How do I not have the default inspector configuration plugin? That is the question. Somewhere we editor. The other question is who is. So we're going to do it under the editor feature flag. Config feature equals editor app.add. Let's go plugin default inspector qualify. I don't understand how it could not have that registered. What do you actually do? You just register a whole bunch of types. Yeah, plugin already added. So my suspicion is it's not that that's the problem. It's that I'm not registering. So maybe there's something it actually said. So we're gonna editor. Go up one. Go hey you add the editor. Does the editor have its own plugin? Like how do I add the editor? How am I doing this? Yeah. So what we're gonna do is gonna do that. Yeah, technically, we can just say register type. I want to say biome. Because biome should register biome rules because they made it recursive now. So it should register everything that it needs. But it was complaining about F32, so I don't actually know. Hey, look, it's an empty list. That doesn't help, does it? Okay, so it says that F32 has reflect value, but has no inspector. Is UI requiring in the type registry? Try calling. Okay. Can I just register F32? Register type F32? That doesn't seem right. Map descriptor, biomes, water. Nope. So it's not quite working. We can change the max height. So we can say min temperature instead. We can also give it like a low priority. Hey, water still spawns. It's just quite rare. Okay. So I don't know why. S32 is reflect value, but has no inspecting. Like registered in the type register. Okay, so it's got to be something to do with. Maybe we have to. Wait, no, we can just implement inspect. We can just implement this for biome rules, can't we? So do exactly the same thing, but for biome rule. And then if we have it inspected for biome rule, can I then change this to just being can I just say self dot, we still need the changed can we just say self dot rules to UI? Is this a thing I can do now? Well, first off, I apparently didn't spell that right. Fire. And then we need to go here. We just need to say, hey, change this is false. Just do nothing. Why is its traits not satisfied though? Does not satisfy inspector primitive, but I just implemented inspector primitive for it. Why? Okay, what if we say change is equal to UI from value self dot rules dot as partial reflect mute UI and then end of dot registry. But what I'm going to say is if it doesn't render at all, means that we're rendering a better, like we're one step closer because it means I can actually like add the values myself. So biomes, water, okay. So max height, but then do you call the inspector? Like, can I don't think you are. I think you're just UI from reflect. UI from reflect. So I don't know why it's not working. Biome rules. We'll make them F64. I'm just curious. F32. I don't know why it's doing it. And like I don't have control, like I can't grab it at a certain point. Does forest have a minimum temperature? It does. That's interesting. I don't know why it's not working. Because we're definitely registering. S32, 64. What if I'm in an I8? Like, because in I8 it's going to be really dumb. It's not going to work because I've specified a value wrong. Min temperature 0, 0, 0. Well, we should set 1. If I then go back to here and say, where is I using min temperature? Min temperature as F32 divided by 10. Like that, okay. That technically should generate the same map, but using an I8. If that lets me view it, then it's something to do with the editor. It's weird. Biome, water, gas max height. It was forest, wasn't it? Nope, I8 is reflective value, but has no inspector. UI import, please. Okay. Now, why are you not working is the question. Why are you not working? Why are you not working? So it's got nothing to do with anything like that. 32. There's a way to do it, I know. So making you an inspector primitive or biomes. What's it saying? Inspector. So if we went like UI dot collapsible rules, add context UI, and then we just say change, what is it, for rule in self dot rules I think we need to iter because otherwise, you know, problems. Let me say .ui. What did it say? It said UI what did it say to use? Inspector UI, no. Inspect UI, no. But I don't want to provide all this fucking information. Interesting. Alright, so we do blah. Can I just call UI? So you want to take access. You want to take ownership of the environment. Don't want you to do. Oh, what is your problem? What we would probably want to do. Drop down. UI dot. Selectable label. Selectable value. Just struggling here. Right, we need to. So, the thing is if this works, I just need to track down exactly what method is being called. What is your problem? That I've turned this back to floats. Okay, so open you back up and go, what the hell does it look like now? Rules. Okay. I said lost the ability to add, so I should probably divert that up one more level. So, map biomes games. Somewhere in here was the piece of code that I literally just changed. during noise. Maybe it's not in here. It's in biomes, isn't it? Yeah, it's in biomes. So instead of doing this, we backspace all this. Get rid of the whole collapsible thing. I just need to track down when exactly it renders itself. And so we just say changed or equals the rules. Okay, so it's self.rules. So, all right. So what exactly does partial reflect actually run? Not partial reflect. UI from value. So UI from value runs the context short circuit. Yep. UI from reflect, which calls UI from reflect with value. UI from reflect with options takes in this. So when UI from struct, so at some point, because it's not a struct, it's an enum. UI from enum. Inspect the EGUI import. Okay, if let some reflected to type registry get type data. Okay, maybe I'm missing something about how you're supposed to register them to be reflectable, because inspect the EGUI import. Is this something I need to reflect? Like, and then when we say enum, vertical. Why show label? Oh god, that's confusing. So is it up here? Do I need to like reflect inspect the EGI import? No, apparently not. Inspect BevyEngine inspector. Inspector options. Is it something that can? Okay, maybe I should go to the BevyEngine thing and have a look and see if they actually say. Inspect EGUI. So quick plugin. Okay. But how do I derive? Look, literally right there. So why can't I? Yeah, so why can't I reflect inspector options? So reflect. But that's what you have as your little inspector options are completely optional. Init resource configuration. Register type configuration. So it could be that I'm not registering a type properly. Okay, I'm registering all the types right. Dot register type rules dot register type vec rule. I don't know what I'm missing. The other thing is that like literally says that I can do this, and then it tells me I can't. That might be it. So F32. What are you complaining about? Because I need to put this. Okay, so if I run this now, that should have registered the type. I've only got one issue. Right, we still got this. Oh, but that should have registered F32. Can't see why it wouldn't have registered F32. Now we hope and we pray that this works. Oh, don't click generate water. Yay, max height. So, and say your max height's like 0.2, and then when we click generate, like there's a hell of a lot more water. Okay. Negative 0.1. Yay, water. Okay. Then we're gonna work out snow. Didn't really make the snow any smaller. Have I got something else spawning as snow? Is that what the problem is? Because there seems like there's a lot of snow for some reason. Does it spawn as sand? Beaches spawn as sand. Why is there so much goddamn snow? Interesting. There's also still something wrong with the terrain generation over here. As you can see, like grass is also spawning underneath the It's probably an issue with the actual text, the model itself or something. Because I can't see why it would respawn it. Grass like that. That or it's the exact color that I've picked is causing a rounding error. Let's see. Where the hell is that? Give me here, right? Yeah, up here. Grass. No, forest. I still think it's spawning something underneath that it's not supposed to be. I can't see why it would only be a forest, because there's like literally no difference between it. See, that makes more sense. Okay, so what is wrong with you? Why are you doing that? There's obviously two textures. It's just like a slight rounding error. Yeah, I guess that was it. I was just sitting so close to the edge of the color change that it was rounding erroring into a different color. Okay. So I guess next is to add like a save load system so I can save the biome configuration. So back to the editor. Need to add like a save button. I'm gonna call it a day because I'm getting a bit tired. I'll probably maybe stream like later tonight. Not sure. Where the hell is this? Not under biome. It's under editor for sure. Yeah. Okay. So if button generate. Okay. So we're gonna go underneath the generate button. We're gonna say UI.line. So blank break. There's something. There's definitely a way of adding a blank line space. Like 10. Just so I don't want to accidentally click save when I'm trying to regenerate. Okay, then we're gonna go horizontal. It's in UI. So then we say button text is going to be save and then click do that. If button save clicked, and then if UI dot button load clicked. So then we need to go let data equal rom to string reference not self, it's descriptor.rules. No, descriptor biomes. Okay, if let okay. If let okay, and then we're gonna say fs std fs say right, and then the path is going to be dot slash assets slash biome run. Okay, and contents is just going to be data. So I think we go if let error e equals, and let's say fail to save bio data. Okay, and then load's going to be the same kind of concept. We're going to say if let okay data equals stds read to string, path is dots assets slash biome stop run. Descriptor dot biomes equals, it's match run from stir data here we say this descriptor dot biomes equals data. Otherwise and then we say error failed to load biome. Okay, because the save load button in theory give some kind of field that I can enter a name. Shouldn't be too hard to do. And then instead of loading biomes, it'll load like the name dot biomes or something. So first things first, go here, go save. Hey, biomes.run. Okay, we should probably make you a pretty descriptor just to make it nicer to look at. Not like that's any extra work on my behalf, really. So instead of toString, it's toString pretty run pretty config default. So that should make it nice. Then next we're gonna put an extra thing here. So we're gonna say UI.text single line. The text is going to be state.save file. Okay. Then we just need to go here. We say save file, and that's a string. So that should be fine, because I'm pretty sure you update it as you go. That's why you need them here. Okay, so when we click save, we don't want to, we want to go format. It's assets, save. Well, it's assets here dot run it dot biomes, and then comma context dot save context state dot save file, and then you're the same where when we call load, just replace this with that. Okay, and so then we can save and load different files. What do I want to do? So we have our assets, we have our biomes. What am I doing? There's something. Oh, we need to go over here and we need to say like, I'll just Google it. VS Code, set language for file extension. Okay, so we have to go to our settings. .json, which I think we do by going here and saying new folder. Oh, new folder. No, out here. New folder. Dot VS Code setting .json. And then we gotta paste in copy this, go here, paste this, get rid of the some settings part, leave this part like that, and then we say anything dot biomes. How's it dot okay, so anything dot biomes dot is wrong. Okay, next is to go to assets. We should probably put it in its own folder then. So new folder, map. Just so if I can map descriptors. We should also save probably more than just the biomes. We should save like the whole map descriptor. Do I have the whole map descriptor serializable? Kind of. Well, technically it doesn't need the whole thing. Does setDeserialize work, or are you going to complain that, yeah, simplex noise is not serializable? So I could serialize the whole thing, but I'd have to make my own custom serializer. Which I'll do eventually, but for now it's going to be its own. Let's just delete this one actually. We just need this part. You rename, copy, editor. Run this. Because you might want like snow biomes where you tweak the heat to be big chunks of the same temperature kind of thing. Anyway, so the idea with this is we should be able to go map descriptor. You go biomes and say we want water's maximum height to be like negative 0.2. Then we go, hey, generate, what does this look like? Except our beaches are now all up on the shore, which is kind of funny. Then we can say this is test. Save that. And then if I change this back to 0, and then load test, it goes back to -2. So we can save and load different biome settings. So if I want to mess around and like come up with like interesting map layouts, you know, it means I can tweak values in here and actually have them render something onto the world. Snow is still way, way too prevalent, which is not so much an issue with that as much as it is it needs something else that can spawn in those snowy areas, because that's more why snow's turning up, is because nothing else can spawn there. Why does mountains have a minimum rainfall? You can say minimum rainfall is 0. Maximum rainfall is 0. Forests have a minimum temperature of 0, minimum rainfall of 2. Grass needs minimum rainfall of 0, minimum temperature of 0. Deserts need a minimum temperature 2. So basically it's just that nothing can spawn it below 0, so snow just kind of ends up dominating the area. We also want water to have max height of 0. Save, and then let's generate that and see what that looks like. Doesn't look terrible. It just snows a little bit. Again, it's so prevalent everywhere. Yeah, I think one thing you could do to make snow rarer would be to say add a rule that says that the minimum height for snow is like 0.2. And it means that snow should only spawn like where there's mountainy bits. There was something I changed on mountains that made them way better. I think it's the rainfall. If I just get rid of rainfall entirely, there's only a minimum height for mountains. It means that mountains end up with these clusters inland, like this. Wow, that's interesting, because does that mean that mountains are outranking snow? What's snow? Snow's got a priority of -1, so snow needs a priority of... I'm going to give rock a priority of -2. Save that. Generate. Could give snow like a more minimum height of 0.4 should mean that we end up with like snow-capped mountains instead. So there's little patches of snow only when the terrain is high and the temperature is cold. Now the question is, it's all desert, isn't it? Which means that we kind of need to make desert less prevalent, because now desert's the issue that's taking everything, isn't it? Desert. So desert just has a minimum temperature. So I'm going to say that desert also has a maximum altitude of 0.2. Should make deserts a little bit rarer. Oh, now I've got a lot more rock. Okay, so now we need to like... So I'm going to say rock has a minimum height of 0.2. So it's not desert, it's now rock. Right. So you need like forests, so a minimum temperature and a minimum rainfall. Beaches, grass. Make grass more prevalent. The grass has the minimum temperature and minimum rainfall. So why is desert taking, rock mountain taking priority? Why is this not grass? Is it too cold? Oh, it could be too dry. Say that grass can take a little bit more of a beating than it can otherwise. And save that. Say generate. Okay, so now we got a lot more grass. So grass just needs to be way hardier than it actually is already. So let's just say there's no minimum. grass. No, there needs to be some minimum for rain or for grass, otherwise it'll end up spreading like everywhere. There won't be deserts then. I think a minimum 0.2. I think they're going to be eating the deserts now because save it. Generate. Yeah. So we should probably add a maximum temperature grass. Max temperature. Say its maximum temperature is like 0.2. Then I've got some nice beaches and some dirt. I think dirt's just like, yeah, dirt's undefined. Like dirt is if you can't be anything else, you're dirt. Okay, that's interesting. We got little mountains everywhere, little rock piles. I guess next is to add like terrain objects, like trees, stuff like that. But that's gonna have to wait until after I make a video on this because this is kind of getting a bit out of scope in terms of what I'm going to include in my video. But thank you for joining the stream today. I don't know if I'll stream later today or tomorrow, but we'll see. Yeah, thank you for tuning in. And I will see you another time.